Alright, hello everyone. Our focus for this lesson is complementary and supplementary angles, right? So that's what we're going to focus on. Now, COMP is short for complementary and SUPP is short for supplementary. These two symbols here means angle. Now I'm going to use them throughout this video. So I just want to make that clear. Now, let's say we have a point here, and we call this point B, right? B. So we have point B here, and we have a ray from this point going in this direction, and it extends to A, right? And let's say that we have a next ray that is perpendicular to this ray, and at that point we call it C. And let's say that we have a next ray extending from this point going in that direction, and then this ray, we call this point here point D. Note that we would have formed two angles. We would have formed an angle here, and we would have formed an angle here. Now let's say we know the values of these angles, and we say that this angle here is 15 degrees. And let's say that we know the value of this angle, and we say the value of this angle is 75 degrees. Right? So let's write down all the information from this diagram, because there is something interesting happening in this diagram here. Now, here we say that angle CBD is equal to 15 degrees. From the diagram, we can see that angle DBA is equal to 75 degrees. Now note, when you're naming angle, the direction is not important, it doesn't matter. If I say angle ABD or DBA, it is the same angle. That angle still measures 75 degrees. Once the vertex of the angle is in the middle, then you are okay. Now, let's say that somebody asks us to calculate another angle, which is angle CBA. Let's say somebody asks us to calculate that angle. Let me highlight that angle. That's this angle here. Say somebody asks you to calculate that angle. Now, based on the diagram, we can clearly see that we have an angle of 15 degrees and an angle of 75 degrees. If we sum these two angles, it will give us the angle, the value of angle CBA. Now, whenever you add two angles and the result is 90 degrees, we call these angles complementary angle. Let me say that again. Whenever you add two angles and the result is 90 degrees, we say that these two angles are complementary angles. Now, so we could use the idea of complementary angles to solve for angle CBA. So solving for angle CBA, we are saying that angle CBA is equal to angle CBD plus angle plus what? Angle DBA, which is equal to 15 degrees plus 75 degrees. And the final answer would be 90 degrees. So therefore, angle CBA is equal to 90 degrees. And like I said, whenever you add two angles and the result is 90 degrees, then we say they are complementary angles. Alright? Now, let's look at another diagram now. Let's look at another diagram. Let's say that we have a straight line going in this direction, extending in both directions, and at this point of the line we call it P, and at this point of the line we call it Q. Let's say that we have a point somewhere here on the line, and we call that point O. And from O, there is a ray extending in this direction. And here on this point, we call it R. Capital R, sorry. We call it R. And let's say that the angle that is formed here, we know that value. And the value for this angle is 130 degrees. Right? Now, and let's say that we also know this value here. And this angle here is 50 degrees. Good? Follow me so far? And let's write down all the information here, because there is something interesting happening again. Now, you can see that angle POR is equal to 50 degrees. And let me highlight that angle POR, which is here, 50 degrees. Also, angle QOR is equal to 130 degrees, which is QOR, which is this angle here, 130 degrees. And let's say that somebody asks you to calculate the value of angle POQ. Say that somebody asks you to calculate that, and that's this angle here, angle POQ. And let me just highlight that with the blue marker, this entire angle here that's formed there. They ask you to calculate that. Now, we can say that if we add these two values, it seems as if we will get angle POQ. So, angle POQ is equal to angle POR plus angle QOR. Therefore, angle POQ is equal to, this is 50 degrees, angle POR is 50 degrees plus angle QOR here is 130 degrees. And when we add these up, we get 180 degrees. So angle POQ is equal to 180 degrees. Now, this is the interesting thing. Whenever you add two angles, and the result is 180 degrees, they are called supplementary angles. So in other words, supplementary angles, right? So in other words, I could just write out that supplementary angles, right, sum to 180 degrees. So from this experiment here, we could realize that supplementary angles sum to give 180. And also from the previous one, we could say that complementary angles sum to 90 degrees. Right? So anytime you have two angles that sum to 180, we call them supplementary angles. Anytime you have two angles that sums to give 90 degrees, we call them complementary angles. And note on this diagram too that we have adjacent angles as well. Anytime you have two angles that share a common vertex, which is O in this case, and a common arm or length or side, which is OR in this case, we say that these two angles are adjacent. Thank you for watching, and remember to practice.